Jake Morrison sat in the pilot seat of his small ship, the UES Pathfinder. He was drinking coffee from a metal cup while looking at the stars through the front window. The ship moved slowly through space near the Vega system. Jake had been on this mission for 3 weeks now, mapping new star systems for Earth. The Pathfinder was not a big ship. It was only about the size of a large airplane back on Earth. Jake liked it that way. Small ships were easier to handle, and he did not need much space for his work. The ship had basic equipment for scanning planets and taking pictures of space. Jake was checking his instruments when something appeared on his screen. Many red dots showed up all at once. He counted them quickly. More than 200 ships were coming toward him. They were big ships, much bigger than his little scout vessel. Well, that's interesting, Jake said to himself. He had never seen so many alien ships in one place before. He turned on his radio to see if they wanted to talk. A deep voice came through the speakers. The voice sounded angry and proud. "Small human vessel, this is Admiral Vextar of the Zentari Empire. You are in our space without permission. Surrender now, or we will destroy you." Jake finished his coffee and set the cup down. He had heard about the Zentari before. They were a warrior race that liked to fight other species. They had conquered many worlds and were very proud of their strong military. "Hello there, Admiral," Jake said into his radio. "This is Commander Jake Morrison of the UES Pathfinder. I'm just here to look at the stars and make some maps. I don't want any trouble. You dare refuse our command?" The alien voice roared. "No inferior species talks to the Zentari Empire like this. Prepare to die, human." Jake looked out his window at the huge fleet surrounding him. The Zentari ships were dark and covered with weapons. Some ships were as long as city blocks. They all had their guns pointed at his tiny vessel. "I really don't want to fight you," Jake said. "Maybe we can just talk about this?" "The time for talk is over," Admiral Vextar replied. "Attack formation. Destroy that arrogant human." The Zentari ships began to move. They spread out in a circle around Jake's ship. Bright lights started charging on their weapons. Jake could see energy building up in hundreds of gun barrels. Jake sighed and pushed a few buttons on his control panel. "Computer, please activate basic defense systems," he said. "Defense systems online," the computer replied in a calm voice. The first wave of Zentari ships fired their weapons. Bright beams of energy shot toward the Pathfinder from every direction. The beams hit Jake's ship, and nothing happened. The energy just bounced off like water, hitting a rock. Jake watched the light show outside his window. "Pretty colors," he said. "Computer, please return fire. Use minimum power settings." "Minimum power engaged," the computer said. Thin beams of blue light shot out from Jake's ship. They were so thin they looked like pencil lines in space. But when they touched the Zentari ships, something amazing happened. The beams cut through the alien hulls like they were made of paper. Explosions lit up the darkness as ship after ship was destroyed. Admiral Vextar's voice came over the radio again. This time he sounded scared. "Impossible. Our shields should stop any weapon. What kind of technology is this?" Jake felt bad about the explosions. He did not like hurting people, even if they were trying to hurt him. "I'm sorry about your ships," he said, "but you attacked first. I'm just defending myself." The Zentari tried different weapons. They shot missiles that could destroy planets. They fired antimatter bombs that could melt asteroids. They used their most powerful energy cannons. Nothing worked. Every attack just bounced off Jake's ship or was absorbed by some invisible barrier. Jake's return fire was different. His weapons seemed to know exactly where to hit each ship to disable it without killing the crew. Some ships lost their engines. Others had their weapons destroyed. A few lucky ships just had their power systems shut down. In less than an hour, the great Centauri fleet was defeated. Broken ships floated in space around Jake's tiny vessel. Some ships were completely destroyed, but most were just disabled. "Admiral, Vexstar," Jake called on his radio. "Are you still there?" A weak voice answered. "Yes, human. I am here." "Do you need medical help?" Jake asked. "I have some basic supplies if anyone is hurt." There was a long silence. Then the Admiral spoke again. You offered to help us? After we attacked you?" "Of course," Jake said. "I don't want anyone to die out here." "That's not what humans do." Jake spent the next 2 hours helping the Centauri survivors. He gave them medical supplies and helped fix their life support systems. Many of the aliens seemed confused by his kindness. Before Jake left, Admiral Vexstar asked him a question. "Human, what kind of ship is this? What weapons do you carry?" Jake laughed. "This is just a scout ship, Admiral. I only have basic equipment for self-defense. My job is to make maps and take pictures." "Just a scout ship?" the Admiral whispered. "Oh?" "And Admiral," Jake said as he prepared to leave, "Earth's main colonial fleet should arrive in this area in a few months. They'll want to meet with your government for proper first contact. You might want to let your leaders know." Jake's ship disappeared into the stars, leaving behind 200 damaged Centauri vessels and one very worried admiral. Admiral Vexstar stared at the empty space where the human ship had been. "Just a scout ship," he repeated to himself. "If that was just a scout ship, what will their main fleet be like?" The thought made him very, very afraid. Admiral Vexstar stood in the great hall of the Centauri, High Command on Nexus Prime. The building was huge and made of black stone. Giant statues of past Centauri warriors lined the walls. But today, none of that made Vexstar feel strong. His hands shook as he held the report he had to give. Council leader Zephani sat on her throne at the front of the room. She was old, but still dangerous. Her yellow eyes stared at Vexstar with anger. Around her sat the other council members, all powerful Centauri who had conquered many worlds. "Tell us again what happened," Zephani said in a cold voice. "How did one small human ship destroy our entire battle fleet?" Vexstar took a deep breath. The human ship was tiny, maybe 50 meters long. It looked like a simple scout vessel. But when we attacked ... double quotes, he paused, remembering the terror. "Our weapons did nothing. Nothing at all. Their energy beams bounced off like they hit a wall we could not see." "And their weapons?" asked General Kexmore, the head of the Centauri military. "Thin blue beams. They looked weak, but they cut through our best armor like it was nothing. The human could have killed us. All, but he chose not to. He offered medical help after the battle." The council members looked at each other with worry. For 1,000 years, the Centauri Empire had been the strongest force in the galaxy. No one had ever defeated them so easily. "I want to know everything about these humans," Zephani said. "Commander Nixara, you will lead the investigation. Find out what kind of technology they have." Commander Nixara was the smartest Centauri in the intelligence service. She had solved many mysteries for the Empire. But as she studied the wreckage from the battle, she found things that made no sense. The pieces of metal from the human ship were unlike anything she had seen. They were light but stronger than the best Centauri armor. The metal seemed to repair itself when damaged. Some pieces glowed with energy that their scientists could not understand. "The humans use technology we have never seen," she reported to the council. "Their ship can bend space around itself. That's why our weapons did not work. They also use some kind of energy we cannot detect or copy." Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Lisa Brooks got new orders at the Luna Command Center. She was chosen to lead the colonial fleet to the Vega system. The fleet would have 50 ships, including the massive colony ship UE, as New Horizons. Lisa was excited about the mission. Humans had been dreaming of meeting other intelligent life for hundreds of years. Now they would finally make contact with alien civilizations. The colonial fleet will be ready in 2 months, she told Admiral Paul Jackson. Captain Steve Carter will command the New Horizons. Dr. Amy Rodriguez has finished her work on the new terraforming equipment. Good, said Admiral Jackson, but be careful out there. Our scout reports say the aliens in that region might be hostile. Back on Nexus Prime, the Centauri were learning more frightening facts about humans. They had captured some human radio signals and were trying to understand them. Listen to this, Commander Nixara said to the Council. She played a recording of human voices talking. They mentioned something called old Earth tech and pre-contact limitations. It sounds like they have been holding back their real technology. Holding back? General Kexmore asked. Yes, the human who defeated our fleet was not using their best weapons. He was following some kind of rules about first contact with new species. The room fell silent. If the scout ship was using limited technology, what could their main fleet do? Intelligence Chief Yarina brought even worse news. We found references to something called the Colonial Protection Protocol. It seems that human colony ships travel with military escorts that have much more powerful weapons than scout ships. Council leader Zefani felt fear growing in her chest. How many ships are in their colonial fleet? 50 ships, according to our intelligence. But each one might be as dangerous as 1,000 of our best warships. The Council started to panic. Some members wanted to attack Earth immediately. Others wanted to hide and hope the humans would not find them. A few smart members suggested they should try to make peace. We need allies, said General Kexmore. Contact the Veltani Confederacy and the Nexus units. Tell them about the human threat. Maybe together we can stop them. But when the Centauri called their old allies, they got surprising answers. The crystalline beings of the Veltani Confederacy said they had already detected human technology from far away. They were so scared that they were building new defenses around their home worlds. The machine collective called the Nexus units gave an even worse response. The humans used technology that could control or destroy our computer systems. We do not want to fight them. We want to make a peace treaty as soon as possible. On Earth, Dr. Frank Wilson was working in his laboratory. He was one of the scientists who had developed the new human technology. He did not know that aliens across the galaxy were terrified of his work. The dimensional manipulation systems are working perfectly, he told his assistant. We can now access higher levels of space-time. This lets us travel faster than light and store unlimited energy in small spaces. What the aliens did not understand was that human technology worked differently than theirs. While other species had built bigger and bigger weapons over thousands of years, humans had learned to control the basic forces of the universe. They could change matter at the atomic level and use energy from other dimensions back in Centauri space. Admiral Vestar was having nightmares. Every night he dreamed about the thin blue beams that had destroyed his fleet. He kept hearing the human's polite voice offering medical help. He was not even angry, Vestar told his officers. He defeated us like we were children, and then he wanted to help us. What kind of species does that? The answer came from an unexpected source. A young Centauri scientist named Tellerese had been studying human culture from their radio broadcasts. She found something that made her even more afraid. The humans have a saying, she told the council. They say, speak softly and carry a big stick. This means they prefer peace, but they are ready for war if necessary. What does this mean for you? Asked Council Leader Zefani. It means the human who defeated our fleet was being gentle. He was trying not to hurt us. But if we keep attacking them, Dolores paused. They might stop being gentle. The council chamber fell silent again. Outside, they could hear the sounds of riots in the streets. News of the defeat had spread across the empire. Many conquered worlds were starting to rebel, thinking that if humans could beat the Centauri, maybe they could too. The great Centauri Empire was falling apart, and the humans had not even arrived yet. Council leader Zifani made a decision that would change everything. Send a message to all our fleets. Tell them to prepare for the biggest battle in our history. When the human colonial fleet arrives, we will be ready. But deep in her heart, she wondered if being ready would be enough. The news spread like fire across the galaxy. On 12 different worlds, people who had been slaves to the Centauri Empire for hundreds of years heard an impossible story. One small human ship had defeated the entire Centauri battle fleet. If that was true, maybe the Empire was not as strong as everyone thought. On the mining world of Kethra, the blue-skinned Velkari workers stopped their digging. For 300 years, they had been forced to mine crystals for the Centauri war machine. Their leader, an old miner named Jethson, stood up and threw down his tools. If the humans can beat the Centauri, so can we. He shouted, "We are free." The other workers cheered and joined him. Soon, the entire planet was in rebellion. The Centauri soldiers tried to stop them, but there were too many rebels and not enough soldiers. The same thing happened on World after World. The bird-like Sectari stopped making weapons for the Empire. The insect colonies of the hive worlds refused to send food to Centauri planets. Even some Centauri colonies started to question their leaders. Emperor Falder sat in his palace on Nexus Prime, watching reports of chaos across his empire. He was an old ruler who had conquered more worlds than any emperor before him. But now his empire was falling apart because of one human in a small ship. How many worlds are in revolt? He asked his advisor. 47 planets have declared independence, Your Majesty. More are joining every day. Our military is spread too thin to stop them all. Emperor Falder slammed his fist on his throne. One human, one tiny ship. How can this be happening? General Kexmore entered the throne room with urgent news. Your Majesty, we have located the human home system. It's called Sol, and their home planet is called Earth. I request permission to attack immediately. No, said Intelligence Chief. Urena, we need to understand their technology first. If we attack without knowing what they can do, we might make things worse. The Emperor's War Council argued for hours. Some wanted to attack Earth before the colonial fleet could leave. Others wanted to build defenses and wait for the humans to come to them. A few suggested trying to make peace, but the Emperor would not hear of it. The Centauri Empire does not surrender to anyone, he declared. We will fight. On Earth, Admiral Paul Jackson was busy preparing the colonial fleet. He stood in the command center on Luna, Earth's moon, watching dozens of ships being loaded with supplies. The UE's New Horizons was the biggest ship he had ever seen. It was like a floating city that could carry 50,000 colonists to their new home. Captain Steve Carter was checking his ship's systems when he received a message from Admiral Jackson. Steve, we're getting reports of increased alien military activity. Keep your people ready for anything. Understood, Admiral, Steve replied. The New Horizons is ready for whatever comes. Dr. Amy Rodriguez was excited about the mission. She had spent years developing new machines that could change dead planets into worlds where humans could live. Her terraforming equipment was loaded onto several ships in the fleet. This is the greatest adventure in human history, she told her team. We're going to build new worlds among the stars. But Admiral Jackson was worried. Reports from other scout ships showed that alien fleets were moving everywhere. Something big was happening in the galaxy. Captain Tony Walsh commanded the UES frontier, one of the escort ships for the colonial fleet. His ship was designed to protect the colonists from any dangers they might face. He did not know that entire alien civilizations were preparing for war. Meanwhile, the Centauri were trying to find allies for the coming battle. Emperor Falder sent his best diplomats to other powerful species in the galaxy. The first to respond were the Ungrim Veltani Confederacy. These crystal beings lived in giant cities made of living rock. They had been neutral in most galactic conflicts, but now they were afraid. "We have felt the human technology from across the galaxy," their leader told the Centauri ambassador. "It touches dimensions we do not understand. We cannot help you fight them. But surely together we can defeat them," the ambassador pleaded. "No," the crystal being replied. "We are already building shields around our worlds. When the humans come, we will offer them friendship, not war." The Centauri had even less luck with the Nexus units. These machine beings had once been organic creatures, but they had put their minds into computer bodies thousands of years ago. They were logical and calculating. "Analysis complete, the Nexus," leader announced. "Human technology could disable our computer systems. Fighting them would result in our destruction. We choose survival. You are all cowards." The Centauri ambassador shouted. "We are realistic," the machine replied. "The Centauri Empire chose war with a species you do not understand. That was not logical." Back on Earth, Dr. Frank Wilson was working late in his laboratory. He was trying to improve the defensive systems on the colonial ships. He had no idea that his work was causing panic across the galaxy. "The new gravitational field generators are working perfectly," he told his assistant. "We can now create artificial gravity and protective barriers using the same technology." Dr. Kevin Hayes, who commanded the research ship UES Discovery, was also preparing for the mission. His ship was designed to study new worlds and alien life forms. He hoped to make peaceful contact with other intelligent species. "I wonder what alien civilizations will be like," he said to his crew. "Maybe we can learn from each other." If he had known what was happening in Centauri space, he might not have been so optimistic. Emperor Falder was getting desperate. His empire was falling apart. His allies had abandoned him, and the human colonial fleet was getting ready to leave Earth. He made a decision that would change the fate of the galaxy. "General Kexmore, gather every ship we have. Call back all our fleets from across the Empire. We will meet the humans with the largest armada in galactic history. Your Majesty, if we pull back all our ships, the rebellions will spread even more," warned Intelligence Chief Irina. "Then let them rebel," the Emperor said. "If we cannot defeat the humans, there will be no empire left to rule anyway." The order went out across Centauri space. Every warship, every battle cruiser, every fighter was called back to the home systems. The Centauri were preparing for the biggest battle in galactic history, but on the mining world of Kethra, the old miner Jethson was celebrating with his people. "The Centauri are pulling back their ships," he announced. "We are truly free." Similar celebrations happened on dozens of worlds. The Centauri Empire was collapsing, and the humans had not even left Earth yet. On Luna, Admiral Paul Jackson received a final report from his intelligence officers. "Sir, we're detecting massive alien fleet movements. It looks like they're concentrating near the Vega system." "How many ships?" Jackson asked. "Our best estimate is over 10,000 vessels, sir. It's the largest fleet ever assembled in known space." Jackson was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. "Well, I suppose they want to make a good first impression. Captain Brooks, is the colonial fleet ready?" "Ready and waiting, sir," Lisa Brooks replied. "Then let's go meet our new neighbors," Jackson said. "I'm sure they'll be reasonable people once we sit down and talk." Across the galaxy, the Centauri Empire prepared for war, but they had no idea what they were really facing. The humans were Coming, and they brought with them technology that would change everything. The colonial fleet was about to leave Earth, and the galaxy would never be the same. Fleet Admiral Carol Davis stood in the command center of Luna Base, looking at the star charts spread across the large table. She was the most experienced military leader on Earth, having served in space for over 30 years. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her sharp blue eyes studied the reports from across the galaxy. "The situation is getting worse," she said to her senior staff. "Commander Ryan Kelly, what do our long-range sensors show?" Ryan Kelly was a young officer who specialized in alien technology. He had been tracking the movement of alien fleets for weeks. "Admiral, we're seeing massive military buildup near the Vega system. The Zentari have called back ships from across their empire. We count at least 10,000 vessels." 10,000? Captain Nicole Turner looked up from her notes. She was the head of Earth's Xenological Division, the department that studied alien life forms. That's their entire military. "It gets worse," Ryan continued. "The Zentari Empire is collapsing. Rebellions on dozens of worlds. Other alien species are building defenses or trying to make peace treaties with us. Everyone is scared." Admiral Davis nodded slowly. She had expected this might happen. "Dr. Frank Wilson, are you ready to brief the Council on our technology?" Dr. Wilson was a thin man with wild hair and thick glasses. He had spent his whole life studying the deepest secrets of the universe. Most people thought he was a little crazy, but he was the smartest human alive. "Yes, Admiral," he said, adjusting his glasses. "But I should warn you, the truth might be hard to believe, even for us." The room fell quiet. Even though they were all experienced space officers, they still did not fully understand the technology they used every day. "Please explain it simply," Admiral Davis said. "Pretend we're all students." Dr. Wilson smiled. "Okay, you know how we always wondered why human technology advanced so fast? Why we went from simple rockets to star travel in just a few hundred years?" Everyone nodded. "The answer is that we think differently than other species. While aliens built bigger and bigger weapons over thousands of years, we learned to control the basic forces that hold the universe together." "What do you mean?" asked Captain Turner. "Think of it like this," Dr. Wilson said. "Other species are like people using hammers to build things. They make better hammers, bigger hammers, more hammers. But we learned to use the blueprint of reality itself." He walked to the big display screen and touched it. Pictures of atoms and energy waves appeared. "We can reach into higher dimensions, the spaces between spaces. We can manipulate matter at the level of individual atoms. We can store unlimited energy in tiny spaces. We can even change the flow of time in small areas." The room was silent. Captain Nicole Turner finally spoke. "So when Jake Morrison's scout ship fought the Zentari fleet ... he was using our most basic technology," Dr. Wilson finished. "What we call emergency defensive systems. It's like bringing a laser gun to a stick fight." Admiral Davis felt a chill run down her spine. "Frank, what can our colonial fleet actually do?" Dr. Wilson's expression became serious. "Carol, our colonial ships could reshape entire solar systems if they needed to. We don't just have weapons that can destroy planets. We have tools that can create new ones." Commander Ryan Kelly looked pale. "No wonder the aliens are panicking. They think we're gods." "We're not gods," Dr. Wilson said firmly. "We're just humans who learn to use the tools that the universe provides. But I understand why they're scared. On the other side of the galaxy, the Zentari were facing their own crisis." Admiral Vexstar stood in the ruins of his command ship, which was being repaired after the battle with Jake Morrison. The experience had changed him. He could not stop thinking about the humans' kindness after defeating them. "Sir," his aide reported, Emperor Thalder wants to speak with you." The Emperor's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired and desperate. "Admiral, you're the only one who has actually fought the humans. Tell me honestly, can we win?" Vexstar was quiet for a long moment. "Your Majesty, I don't think you understand what we're facing. The human didn't just defeat us. He could have destroyed us completely, but he chose not to. He offered us medical help. So you're saying we should surrender?" The Emperor asked angrily. "I'm saying we should think very carefully about what we're doing. The human told me his ship was just a scout vessel with basic equipment. If that's true, yes, then their main fleet will be something beyond our understanding." Emperor Thalder's image flickered with anger. "I don't care what technology they have. The Zentari Empire has never surrendered, and we won't start now." After the Emperor disconnected, Admiral Vexstar sat alone in his damaged ship. He thought about the human's voice, calm and polite even during battle. He wondered if the Emperor was making a terrible mistake. Back on Earth, the colonial fleet was almost ready to leave. Captain Lisa Brooks stood on the bridge of the U's Guardian, watching the final preparations. Her ship was designed to escort the colony vessels and protect them from any dangers. "Captain," her communications officer reported, "we're getting a message from Admiral Davis. She wants to speak with all ship commanders." Soon, the faces of 50 ship captains appeared on screens around the galaxy. Admiral Davis looked at each of them seriously. "Captains, I need to tell you something important about our mission. We're not just going to establish a colony. We're going to meet an alien empire that sees us as a threat." Captain Steve Carter, commanding the massive colony ship U.S. New Horizons, spoke first. "Admiral, are we walking into a war?" "Possibly," Davis replied. "But I want you to understand something. Our technology is far beyond what these aliens have. We could defeat their entire empire without losing a single ship. Then, why are we worried?" asked Captain Tony Walsh from the U.S. frontier. "Because," Admiral Davis said, "we're not conquerors. We're explorers. Our goal is to make friends, not enemies. We'll defend ourselves if we have to, but we won't start a war." Dr. Kevin Hayes, commanding the research vessel U.S. Discovery, had a question. "What if they attack us first?" Admiral Davis was quiet for a moment. "Then we'll show them that humans can be terrible enemies, but we prefer to be good friends." The fleet began to move. 50 ships, each one carrying technology that could change. A fate of worlds left Earth's solar system. They were heading toward the Vega system, where 10,000 alien warships waited for them. In the Zentari Empire, the final preparations were being made. Emperor Thalder stood in his war room, surrounded by maps and battle plans. His greatest generals and admirals had gathered for the most important meeting in their history. "The human colonial fleet has left their home system," Intelligence Chief Irina reported. "They'll reach the Vega system in 6 weeks." "How many ships?" asked General Kexmore. "Only 50. But after what we learned from Admiral Vexstar's encounter, numbers may not matter." Emperor Thalder looked at his commanders. "I know you're all afraid, but we are Zentari. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We will not be defeated by 50 human ships." But even as he spoke, the Emperor felt doubt in his heart. He had built his empire on being stronger than everyone else. Now he was about to face an enemy that might be stronger than him. The stage was set for the greatest battle in galactic history. On one side, the largest alien fleet ever assembled. On the other, 50 human ships carrying colonists who just wanted to build new homes among the stars. Neither side knew how this would end, but both sides were about to learn that the universe was about to change forever. The Kepler 442 system was in chaos when the human colonial fleet arrived. Admiral Carol Davis stood on the bridge of the U.S. Endeavour, her flagship, looking at the massive alien armada spread across space. She had seen many battles in her 30 years of service, but nothing like this. "Scan report," she ordered calmly. "Admiral, we count 10,847 hostile vessels," reported her tactical officer. "They're arranged in attack formation around the entire system. We're completely surrounded." Captain Lisa Brooks, commanding the escort vessel U's Guardian, opened a communication channel. "Admiral, the New Horizons is secure. Captain Carter has all civilians in protected areas." "Good," Admiral Davis replied. "All ships maintain peaceful formation. Let's see if they want to talk first." The Zentari fleet was impressive and terrifying. Ships as large as mountains floated in perfect battle lines. Planet-killer weapons charged with deadly energy. Fighter squadrons buzzed between the capital ships like angry insects. At the center of it all sat Emperor Thalder's flagship, the Destruction of Worlds. It was the largest warship ever built, armed with enough firepower to crack a planet in half. The Emperor himself stood on the bridge, wearing his golden battle armor. "The humans have arrived," his communications officer announced. "Their fleet is smaller than expected." Emperor Thalder looked at the display showing the human ships. Only 50 vessels, and most of them looked like simple transport ships. The largest was clearly a colony ship, not a warship. "Is this some kind of trick?" he asked. "Our sensors show no hidden ships, Your Majesty," replied his tactical officer. "This is their entire fleet." Admiral Vextar, who had been given command of the front attack line, felt uneasy. He remembered the power of just one human scout ship. If these 50 ships were more advanced than that scout— "Open communications," Emperor Thalder commanded. "I want to speak to their leader." The communication channel opened, and Admiral Davis appeared on the screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and kind eyes, wearing a simple uniform. She looked nothing like the fierce warrior the Emperor had expected. "I am Emperor Thalder of the Zentari Empire," he announced proudly. "You have entered our space without permission. Surrender now and share your technology, or face the consequences." Admiral Davis smiled politely. "Good day, Emperor. I am Admiral Carroll Davis of the Earth Colonial Fleet. We come in peace, seeking to establish a colony in unclaimed space." "We have no wish to fight you." "Unclaimed space?" The Emperor roared. "All space belongs to the Zentari Empire." "I'm afraid we disagree," Admiral Davis replied calmly. "But perhaps we can discuss this peacefully. I'm sure we can find a solution that works for everyone." The Emperor's face turned purple with rage. "You dare speak to me as an equal? You have 50 tiny ships against my 10,000 warships. Surrender or be destroyed." Admiral Davis sighed. "Emperor, I really hope you'll reconsider. We don't want to hurt anyone." "The time for talk is over," Emperor Thalder declared. "Fleet commanders, attack formation. Destroy every human ship." The Zentari fleet began to move. Thousands of ships turned their weapons toward the human vessels. Energy weapons charged with deadly power. Missile tubes opened and armed their planet-killer warheads. "Admiral, Captain," Tony Walsh reported from the UES frontier. "They're preparing to fire." "I see it," Admiral Davis replied sadly. "All ships, activate defensive systems. Prepare to return fire." "Ma'am," her tactical officer asked, "what power level for our weapons?" "Admiral." Davis thought for a moment. "Standard defensive response. We'll show them we're serious, but we won't be cruel about it." The first wave of Zentari ships opened fire. Thousands of energy beams, enough to destroy entire planets, shot toward the human fleet. The weapons hit the human ships and simply disappeared, absorbed by shields that seemed to bend reality itself. Emperor Thalder watched in horror as his most powerful weapons had no effect. Impossible. Fire everything, use the planet killers. The Zentari unleashed their most terrible weapons. Antimatter bombs that could melt moons. Gravity weapons that could crush stars. Energy beams that could cut through anything. All of it struck the human fleet and vanished like water hitting a sponge. Return fire, Admiral Davis ordered quietly. The human response was swift and precise. Thin beams of blue light shot out from their ships. But these beams were different from the ones Jake Morrison had used. They were more controlled, more surgical. Beams struck the Zentari ships, and something amazing happened. Instead of destroying them, the beams seemed to reprogram them. Zentari weapons shut down safely. Ship engines stopped without exploding. Life support systems kept working, but nothing else did in minutes. Thousands of Zentari warships were floating helplessly in space, their crews alive, but their weapons useless. What kind of technology is this? Emperor Thalder whispered. But Admiral Davis was not finished. Captain Tony Walsh, commanding the UES Frontier, deployed something the aliens had never seen before. A wave of energy swept out from his ship and surrounded a group of Zentari vessels. Gravitational manipulation field active, Walsh reported. I have control of enemy Formation 7. The Zentari ships began to move against their will. They were pulled into perfect formation, their weapons pointing away from the human fleet. The alien crews tried to regain control, but their ships would not obey. Dr. Kevin Hayes, commanding the research vessel UES Discovery, tried a different approach. His ship was designed for scientific study, not war. But human science was more advanced than alien warfare. Molecular restructuring field deployed, Hayes reported. I'm converting the enemy's weapons into harmless materials. Across the battlefield, Zentari weapons began to change. Laser cannons became flower gardens. Missile launchers turned into art sculptures. The aliens watched in amazement as their instruments of war became objects of beauty. Emperor Thalder was in shock. This is impossible. No technology can do this. Actually, it's quite simple, Admiral Davis said over the open channel. We're just rearranging matter at the atomic level. It's basic science for us. The Emperor tried one last desperate move. His flagship, the destruction of worlds, had a special weapon that could destroy entire solar systems. He ordered it to fire, the weapon charged with terrible energy. Space itself seemed to bend around it. Then it fired, sending a beam of pure destruction toward the human fleet. Admiral Davis watched the approaching beam calmly. Dimensional redirect field, she ordered. The human flagship, the UES Endeavor, did something that broke all known laws of physics. It opened a hole in space. Itself. The Zentari's planet-killing beam disappeared into this hole and emerged somewhere else, striking an empty asteroid field instead of the human ships. Where did it go? Emperor Thalder asked in terror. We sent it to empty space about 50 light years. Away, Admiral Davis explained. We can control dimensional space, so we can redirect any attack to anywhere we want. The battle was over. The entire Zentari fleet was disabled, their crews alive, but their ships powerless. Not a single human had been hurt. But Admiral Davis had one more surprise. Captain Steve Carter, commanding the colony ship UES New Horizons, activated his terraforming equipment. The massive ship began to glow with gentle light. What are you doing now? The Emperor asked weakly. We noticed that your weapons damaged one of the planets in this system, Admiral Davis replied. We're going to fix it. The terraforming beam reached out and touched the damaged planet. The alien crews watched in wonder as dead rock became living. World. Oceans formed where there had been craters. Forests grew where there had been wasteland. In just a few minutes, the humans had created a garden world. This is what our technology can do, Admiral Davis said. We can destroy, but we prefer to create. We can take life, but we prefer to give it. Emperor Thalder stared at the new world. His enemies had created. I don't understand. Why would you help us after we attacked you? Because that's what humans do, Admiral Davis replied. We believe every intelligent species deserves a chance to grow and learn, even if they make mistakes. The Emperor's voice was quiet when he spoke again. What do you want from us? Peace, Admiral Davis said simply. We want to explore the galaxy and make friends. We want to help other species solve their problems. We want to build a better future for everyone. And if we refuse? Admiral Davis was quiet for a moment. Then we'll go somewhere else and leave you alone. But you won't be able to hurt us, and we won't let you hurt others. Emperor Thalder looked around at his defeated fleet. His empire was gone, destroyed not by weapons, but by kindness. The humans had shown him that there was another way to live in the galaxy. I surrender, he said finally. The Zentari Empire surrenders unconditionally. That's not necessary, Admiral Davis replied. We don't want to conquer you. We want to help you. Would you like to join our galactic cooperative? We're building a new kind of government where everyone has a voice. And so the greatest battle in galactic history ended not with destruction, but with hope. The human colonial fleet had arrived, and they brought with them the promise of a better future for all the species of the galaxy. The age of the Zentari Empire was over. The age of the Terran Galactic Cooperative had begun.